Welcome, everyone, and thanks for logging me in on time. We'll get started promptly in just over a minute or two as we wait for others to join. And we'll just give it one more minute as the seconds tick down, and then we'll kick off. And if you're regular attendees to the Sonar webinars, hopefully you're enjoying this new video. All right. Robert, if you're able to move to the next slide, I'd like to welcome everybody and say thank you. Thank you for joining and welcome to our webinar entitled Maintain Excellence in Code Health with AI Code Assurance. I'm Andrew, your moderator for this webinar, which will be presented by Robert Curley, our Product Marketing Manager for SonarQube Server here at Sonar. So today, the topics that we'll cover will include the challenges associated with AI-generated code, how AI code assurance from SonarQube helps developers take ownership of AI-generated code, and then also setting up and using AI code assurance. But before I introduce Robert, please allow me to quickly review the essential housekeeping points that should be appearing on your screen now, if Robert can move to the next slide. So the session will last around 45 minutes, and we'll be sure to include a session at the end for Q&A. You're invited to submit your questions for the Q&A at any time during the webinar. So please use the Q&A box in Zoom and not the chat box. Behind the scenes today, we have two panelists joining us who will be helping us answer your questions during the webinar. So we have Anirban from our product marketing team and Vivek from our product management team. So they are tasked with answering as many of your questions live as they can get through during the webinar. So do start firing them in and don't wait until the end. The session will be recorded and we'll send out a link via email in the coming days with that recording. And just a heads up that we will include a poll during today's webinar. Please do participate. The more people that do, the more interesting the results. Finally, at the end of this webinar, a short survey will pop up on your screen. We always consider your feedback to be a gift, so thank you in advance for your participation. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Robert, our presenter today. So Robert is a software product management leader at heart with 18 years of experience working in the enterprise, IT services management, IT operations, storage, and security markets. Robert started his career in software engineering, and he currently serves, as I mentioned earlier, as the product marketing manager at Sonar, where he runs the go-to-market planning for SonarQube Server. Robert, over to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Hi, everybody. Happy to be here today talking to you about a really, really cool, exciting, and constantly changing topic. We're going to go through using AI coding assistants, using AI tools as you develop what the industry looks like. So we're going to talk about kind of the state of where things are, where we think things are going, And then we're going to go through AI code assurance, a capability within SonarQube, and show you what it does, how it helps you, what the benefits are, and how does it work. So I think it's going to be a really fun and exciting webinar for you guys today, and I'm glad you're here. So let's get to it. But actually, before we get into details, we're going to run a quick poll and ask you about, are you using an AI coding assistant? So please fill out the poll. And not to spoil too much, but what I'm seeing is very much to be expected. We'll let it run for a little bit more. Get everybody's responses in, or not, or a good portion of them, I think, seems to be trickling off now. But no surprise that most of you are using GitHub Copilot. That's to be expected. Copilot is hands down the leader right now in terms of AI coding assistants. And but it's good that a lot of you are also, like 21% of you are also using some other coding assistant. It's also great that 26% of you want to use a coding assistant but haven't started yet. Um, so that's kind of where we expected things, right? That's uh, really how the industry is going. So let's talk about the market and let's talk about what's happening with developers' role. And it's really changing, right? The developer's role is the traditional, way as a software developer when you're building code and you're working on your projects and you want to figure out how to solve a problem and going to a forum, um, like full stack, or trying to figure out how to solve a problem the traditional way is pretty much disappeared, and now everybody's using AI coding assistants. So it's really generative AI language, large language models are pervasive in the SDLC, and from really start to finish, right? From design all the way to coding, building, deploying, and even monitoring deployed apps. So it's really changing how we work and accelerating the pace of software development. And on the left, you see here, kind of this was like a year, maybe even up to 6 months ago, that it was all about AI coding assistants. And um, so at each level, just something to kind of augment what you already do. And now, really, the industry is kind of moving towards the right-hand side, right? Towards this agentic AI tools. So agentic AI tools are um, autonomous. They don't need much human interaction. Um, Things like Amazon Q, vibe coding has really kind of emerged where anyone with an idea can ask a tool in plain English to build a running application, like a fully running application. Boom, you ask it a question and it rips out a running application. So some examples are like Bolt for building full stack web apps, or the new Copilot workstation, if you've had a chance to play with that, are good examples of these agentic development environments. So it's really progressing quickly. And we're seeing this ongoing shift where AI continues to take even more responsibility, handling everything from taking specifications, generating apps, automating the resolution of test results, auto refactoring code bases to modernize them. It's really changing. So your role as a developer is changing, and even the landscape of the tools is evolving quickly, right? These tools are constantly changing. Even the names of them changing, right? Like um, Kodo was Codium, and Windsurf was also a Codium, but spelled different Codium. So the names and the brands are changing, the capabilities are changing, they're evolving. So these prompt-based code completion tools like GitHub Copilot or Tab9, that are good examples of those, are really being replaced with fully AI-powered development assistants like Kodo and Windsurf, or like Replit. If you've tried Replit, um, it's really interesting in that it's a self-contained environment. You can even ask it to, with prompts, to set up your environment just by describing the tools you want to use to develop, right? You can tell it, oh, I want to build a Python application. It'll automatically configure everything for your project. And you don't need to manually configure what tools to pull together or your dev environment. It just all does it for you with prompts. So it's pretty powerful. Um, Cursor is a good example of pushing the boundaries of predictive development. So as you traverse your code, you can just hit the tab button in Cursor and it'll predictively autocomplete code for you. So, what to include next as you're coding. So it's really interesting where, in some cases, like with a cursor case, you're not even giving it prompts. It's just predictively analyzing what it thinks your next line of code will be. So again, these tools are super powerful. They're really, really accelerating development. And so the benefits are huge, right? Improving developer productivity, helping you find solutions quickly, automating the mundane routine tasks, faster prototyping your ideas, right? Getting through stuff like blazingly fast. It's democratizing app development, right? It's not just App development is not just accessible to people with trained coding backgrounds or development backgrounds, right? It's accessible to new beginner developers. It's more accessible to non-developers. But there are risks there, right? Um, this faster time to market, right? It expedites your time to develop software projects and build them and get them out. And it allows developers to change your focus from the detailed tasks and figuring out the problems to being more creative and strategic, right? Getting you to think about how to solve problems and what it is that you want to build rather than how to build it and how to get it done. So that's interesting and that's kind of exciting and maybe a little bit challenging and scary, but that's just the way the industry is going. But as velocity increases, so does risk, right? What do we know about LLMs? Well, they're trained on existing code. They're not trained to determine good from bad code, just code, right? It doesn't know this is a good piece of code or this is a bad piece of code. It can include inaccurate code. It can include out-of-date concepts. So you've got to understand what it is that it's spitting back to you and make sure that it's suiting what you want and what your kind of needs are in terms of consistency and quality. And it's in terms of inconsistent, right? You can different developers can be querying LLMs for solutions, and it can be giving back different results. So in one section of code, the same need can be a different type of code altogether. You can prove this by asking an LLM something multiple times, and you can see that it returns different results sometimes, right? So that's the same is true with coding assistants. And then they're not checking for duplicity. They're not checking for a lot of things that make code run better, work better, be more efficient. So you've got to do these things yourself. And then there's a need for this governance in coding, right? There's a need to oversee what the results are to avoid things like code bloat, right? You don't, the LLMs aren't being trained on being efficient in the code that they produce. So they could produce lots of code bloat. They could produce lots of technical debt, right? It's another form of cutting corners, which is going to result in technical debt. And the last part is one of the, I think, more interesting and more challenging aspects of it is it tends to decrease the accountability on developers, right? When you go as a developer and find a piece of code manually somewhere, like at Full Stack, and you use it in your code, you have to dissect it. You have to make it work with your code. with an AI coding assistant, it does that all for you. And so the lazy person in us, I'm a lazy person, and I know this happens with me, might not check the results. Just, hey, it works. It's not my problem. It generated the code. So when there's a problem with it, is it my fault that I didn't check it? Or is it the LLM's fault that it put something bad in there? Who's responsible for issues that arise in using AI generated code? And so these are important to solve. And in fact, check out this poll or this survey that was done by Kima and Hook. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those correctly, but the question here was, what worries you the most about integrating AI into your developer workflow? And top of mind, you can see here, right? Introducing defects or vulnerabilities in your work, right? So it's a real challenge. It's a real problem with accountability and risk governance. These are top of mind for companies who are, and developers who are using AI coding assistants. Okay, so I'm going to take a fun and maybe somewhat risky break, and I'm going to ask the LLMs what it thinks. So I'm going to just start by saying to Google, uh, is using AI coding. And let's see what it says. Well, use them with a careful review and verification. It carries risks, and it's listing the risks, security vulnerabilities, code quality problems, over reliance, right? These are things that I've talked about. So I didn't build this content based on AI. We know these things. This is, our business to know these things, but even the AIs know. And here's a fun one. Let's ask Claude, let's quote sources. These are public accounts, by the way. I'm not, these aren't like specifically trained. These are public. You saw Google's Gemini, and here's Claude. I don't know why it's not quoting the sources. Usually it gives little drop downs for the, I don't know why I didn't do that. But anyway, look, it's really saying the same thing, right? It's good. You should try it and use it, and it's beneficial, but you should check to make sure that it gives you the solid responses that you need, right? The quality that you need, the security that you need. So this is our approach. This is Sonar's approach, right? Trust and verify. Trust that the AI tools will help you. Trust that they'll accelerate your development. Use them and verify the results. Take the time to check the results and make sure that they meet your standards for quality and security. And why not use us? Because that's what we do. That's our bread and butter is this. And we built AI code assurance with that in mind. We built AI code assurance to do exactly that, to help you, guide you through the process of making sure that when you're using AI coding assistance, when you have AI generated code in your projects, it's checked, it's validated, and it's verified. So what does AI code assurance do? It verifies the code's correctness. It demonstrates the code's adherence to security and quality standards. It ensures code quality through testing with test coverage results, right? It enhances your code's clarity and readability, right? As you go through and fix those issues, it'll make sure that that code adheres to your clarity and readability standards. It improves your code's maintainability, and it promotes a better understanding of the code, right? It has your developers go through this process, check that code, and understand what it does, just to make sure. And so as a result, it builds trust in the code. It instills confidence in the code's reliability. It fosters assurance in the code's stability. It lends credence to the code's integrity, and it assures the code's dependability, right? These are all very, very important results that without a tool like SonarQube, it'd be hard to manage it. So let's take a look at how it works. First, you have to set it up. So to start the process of applying, you need to set up the code assurance and make sure that the dedicated AI code assurance workflow, which ensures your AI generated code is thoroughly reviewed. You need to set up the code assurance in your SonarQube instance. You need to configure it at the server level and by project. And then once it detects something, some AI code has been used or a tool has been used to generate AI code, you should acknowledge it and make sure, and then once the project has been flagged as, okay, this contains AI code, your next step is to set up a special quality gate. We have out of the box quality gates. So you must use a quality gate that's optimized for AI generated code. So that ensures that only code meeting strict standard and quality and security standards is approved, and all your code that goes to production meets those standards. And you can use our out-of-the-box SonarWay for AI code, or you can create your own based on your company's quality and security standards. So we'll take a look at that and show you what that looks like. Then the next step is that your projects are then checked, and they are checked to make sure that they have gone through the AI code assurance workflow, and that ensures that the code has passed the Gen AI ready quality gate. Okay, and once that's done, then you get a badge. So the project itself will be assigned a badge by AI Code Assurance. It's applied to the projects, and you will see it inside SonarQube, and you can actually display those badges directly in your repository. So that helps demonstrate adherence to the AI code quality standards that you've set or that you've used. Okay, let's take a look at what that looks like. All right, this is the fun part. I'm going to go into my SonarQube server, and I'm just going to show you real quick a bunch of different scenarios here. And I didn't go into my server. I went into the other one. Let's go into mine. Here we go. Okay, so mine shows, you can see here, here's my list of projects, and you can see here that some say they contain AI code, and AI code assurance has failed. That means it's on and it's failed. Or here's one that contains AI code, and AI code assurance has passed, so it passed the quality gate. And then there's some with that contain AI code, and AI code assurance is off. So those are kind of the states that you would go in. To turn on AI code assurance, you'd go into administration here, and you'd go to AI generate code, and you'd turn it on here. And then you go into your individual projects, and you would go into your project settings, and you could set it up by turning on auto detect AI generated code here. So let's see what it looks like. That was this other project. When AI code assurance or the auto detect capability is turned on. So I'm going to just go to my favorites so it's easier here. So here's a project that contains AI code. We used Copilot to generate some AI code. And when you go into that project, I haven't turned on code assurance yet, but I have turned on the auto detection part. So what it's telling me right here is it says, oh, AI code has been detected, but I need to acknowledge that. So really the first step is, after you enable the auto detection, is to acknowledge that now this project does contain AI code, because this is just a, hey, we detected usage, and so you need to go in and verify that it actually does. Once I do that, you'll see it'll ask me to configure the quality gate. But before I do that, let's go back to the project and let's see how it looks. So in the project view, again, I'm filtering just to my favorites, but you'll see it in the all projects view. But in the projects view, now the badge comes up, this badge comes up that says, oh, this contains AI code. So it said, it gave me a warning, said, I think I found AI generate code. I went and verified, yep, it does. But now it's telling me AI code assurance is turned off. So let's go into the project and turn it on. So again, here on the project page, it's telling me it's turned off, and it's asking me to take the next step, which is to set a quality gate. Okay, I'm going to go and set a quality gate, and it drops me right into where I set the quality gate. And right now it's using the Sonar way, the standard out of the box Sonar way. That's not the AI code assured. So I can choose the out of the box Sonar way for AI code, or I can choose one of my own. I created these special quality gates, a non-AI code assured one, and then a company A, like an AI code approved one that I set up. But before I set that, let's go take a look at those. If I go into the quality gates here and I take a look at those, so here's the Sonar Way built-in, and then here's the one for AI code assurance. And you'll notice that the one for AI code assurance is different in that it doesn't only check conditions on new code, it checks conditions on overall code too. So there's a couple of extra conditions here, which is that overall code doesn't have any security issues, so it's a rating A or better. Overall code has no reliability issues, rating C or better, and all the hotspots have been reviewed. Okay, that's great, but my company might want to say have a more strict AI code assurance quality gate. So I built this one, and you'll see it's a little bit different in that I want the security rating not only to be A, but I want the reliability rating to be A or better. Well, not better than A, but I mean, you can't get better than A, but it has to be A. And I want, say, my code coverage of overall code to also, this is where we're talking about test coverage, right? I want the test coverage to be a very high rate. I've set my test coverage to be 90%. That's really high, but it's good. And I've set my test coverage of overall code to be 90%. This is pretty strict. And I want to make sure all security hotspots are reviewed. So it's more strict because I want to have more control over making sure that AI generate code is strictly checked. So let's go back to the project and set that gate. I'm going to use the company A for AI code. And now let's go back and check out what state the project in. Well, luckily, even with those strict standards, it's still meeting those standards. So we're in good shape. And you can see that I've got an AI code assurance passed badge. And in my projects list, it also shows AI code assurance has passed. So it's in pretty good shape. So this is what we mean. And in this demo going through and running another analysis and going through and fixing things, I think you guys get what that looks like. But this is the flow where we're talking about, when we detect AI code, you acknowledge it, you set up a special quality gate that's more rigorous, has more controls, that enforces your developers to go through and pick through those issues more accurately and clearly, and gives them a sense of ownership on making sure that the code base is in the high strict quality standard and security standard that you set. And that's it for the demo. And this is in both SonarQube Cloud and SonarQube Server, uh, Team and Enterprise in SonarQube Cloud, and it's in Developer, Enterprise, and Data Center Edition in SonarQube Server. I believe in the chat there are, if you're not already using these, there's links to our pricing and plans pages, so you can take a look at those and get started. There will be also links to try them for free on those pages if you want to give them a trial, if you're not already using the paid plans, the Teams Enterprise and Cloud, or Developer Enterprise and Data Center. And that's it for the talk. And let me hand it back over to Andrew.
Robert, thank you so much. That was great. Okay, so let's move ourselves into a time of Q&A. And as I gather up the questions, please do take a moment to just check out our next webinar. A familiar face there, Robert again, plus Paul Edwards. And there is a link in the chat to sign up. Okay, so we have quite a few questions. Let's get started. First question, I'm going to bring in Vivek for the first question, if I may. Vivek, does Sonar use LLMs to scan and verify the code changes?
Thanks, Andrew. No, we don't use LLMs while we scan or the so-called verification phase of our scan. We don't use LLMs. However, if you are using our AI code fix, at that point we are using LLM. This will be clearly mentioned in the UI, you will notice. During our regular scan, no, we are not using LLMs, not yet.
Okay, great. Thank you, Vivek. Another one for you, Vivek. Can we enable AICA for all projects?
Yes, we have a setting at the global level in the administrative section. You can go and see that you can enable at the global level, and you do get additional control at project level. Definitely, if you don't want to turn it on specific projects, you do have that flexibility, but there is a central control in the administrative section for the global control as well.
Okay, great. One for you, Robert. Can SonarQube detect AI code if we are not using Copilot, but another provider?
I like this question. Today, we are detecting use of GitHub Copilot specifically, and we have plans in the very near future to expand that to other AI coding assistants. And in fact, I am aware of some really, really cool research being done that is going to even get more finer grained on the detection. So rather than just project level, we're working on being able to detect, down to a finer level within the project, what code segments are AI code generated. And so as we release those kind of capabilities, we'll be updating this flow to be more specific and drop you into, oh, here's a section of code that specifically is AI code generated, or AI assistant generated code, and pick through that. So some really, really cool stuff coming, and look out for it because it's going to be really awesome. What I've seen is mind-boggling, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, Robert, whilst you're on, another one for you. When can we expect an AI code assurance feature in SonarQube Cloud?
Well, it's there today for the Teams and Enterprise plans, and if you're on or using the free one, you can run a trial. I believe it's a 15-day trial that you can run to check it out.
Okay, great. Vivek, another one for you, workflow related. So how do you recommend we adjust our SonarQube workflow now that we want to accelerate usage of GitHub Copilot?
Wonderful. I really appreciate that you want to use more AI to improve the pace at which you're developing. And certainly that is where AI code assurance and SonarQube will come into play. Look, what you need to definitely do is to make sure that your AI generated code is protected, and that insurance will allow you to go fast. So quickly, you can make sure you are using a very good stringent quality gate. And to do that, you can either use our recommended AI code quality gate, which is SonarWave for AI code, which will also cover and protect your AI code in your old code, not just in the new code, just for the reference. And one more thing is required. You should have a really nice quality profile, because no matter how stringent your quality gate is, if you don't have a nice quality profile, we will be in trouble, because we want to make sure that all the rules are enabled. So I would recommend at this point that you go take a look at SonarWave quality profile and derive something from that that is acceptable for your team. This way you make sure that your AI code is reviewed at a really stringent level. This way you reduce the risk and you don't have to keep worrying about whether that is safe or not. And SonarQube will take care of that, and you can really go fast with your development and usage of AI.
Thanks, Vivek. Slightly long question coming up. I'm not sure who wants to take this one, Robert or Vivek, but I'll let you decide. Is it possible to asynchronously and independently perform SQA AI code scans using an alternative profile without changing SonarWave, or a custom profile that is in use by the projects?
Ooh, that's interesting. I think I have this right. So the quality gate is assigned at the project level, right? So you can have one quality gate for one project and a different quality gate for another project, but within a project, you can't use multiple quality gates, if I'm understanding the question right. So when you want to apply the AI code assurance workflow and you want to have that badge applied to a project, you have to use a single quality gate that is a AI code assurance approved quality gate. Either our provided out of the box SonarWave for AI code assurance, or your own, which you set up and then flag as for AI code assurance.
Okay.
Vivek, does that sound right? Did I get it
That
right?
is perfect. That is perfect. Yeah. We just understands that SonarWave for AI code may not be the best option for everybody. So you can create, your team can decide what is the quality standard you want for AI code, but you need to qualify. This way you are making sure that your standard is suitable for yourself and your AI code. Absolutely right, Robert.
And you can set up multiple quality gates for different projects, but those quality gates that you set up for yourself, your own, that you configure, they have to be marked as for AI code assurance. So otherwise that project won't get assigned the badge unless they are marked as for AI code assurance. So you can set up whatever, dozens of them, mark them as for AI code assurance, assign them to different projects, and you're good to go.
Cool. Okay, just a final easy question, which I can answer myself. Are we going to be sharing the video recording of this session? The answer is yes, probably by the end of this week. So that was an easy one. Listen, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who posed questions, and thanks to those people who are answering behind the scenes, furiously tapping away at the keyboards. If we didn't get a chance to answer your question, or if you have a question that you've just thought about, then our community is a great place to get questions answered, and also to review those questions that have already been posed in the past and had a thread associated with them. So do check out our community, and do also check out sonarsource.com for further information on our solutions, including the new SonarQube free tier and the team and enterprise plans, which Robert mentioned. And of course, you'll find SonarQube server and everything about our AI solutions there too, plus also information on our future webinars and events. All that remains to say is thank you to Robert for your presentations. Thank you for being brave enough to use the innovative way of posing questions to the LLMs live. That was very brave. Well done. Kudos to you. And there will be a survey popping up on your screen in a few moments. Do just help us improve by filling out that. And giving us your thoughts on today's webinar. Thank you very much and see you all soon.
Yeah, see you at the next one.